It is the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and it's time to talk Northern Areas of football now. Joining me on the line, the great Graham Spud McKay to help us go through the final minor round of matches from last weekend. Spud, how are you, mate?
Pretty good, thanks, Jason. Yeah, very interesting round of matches there last week. Most of them probably went the way we thought, but not by the margin that we thought.
No, that is true. And Southern Flinders, they must be listening to this show, I reckon. That's where we'll start, because if you'd told me this time last week that Crystal Brook were going to kick 12 goals, 11, I would have said, well, they win and maybe play finals. But it wasn't to be, because Southern Flinders finally got something on the scoreboard. They kicked 16-4-100 themselves. Accurate kicking, Spud.
It was very accurate kicking, and I think the big thing about that is that the goals were shared around. So they're young players in Tyson Amy, Joel Amberg, Pedersen, Will Smart, all sort of got amongst them, and that's always a good sign if you're not relying on one particular spearhead to kick your goals, if you can share it around. And I think that was probably the difference, because Crystal Brook had Daniel Hill kicked 7, I reckon, and so like that was probably their main goal kicker when he kicked 7 out of 12. And just a really good. It wasn't much in the game, only 17 points. 18 points, and Crystal Brook would have been playing on tomorrow, so that'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Sunday, I should say, not tomorrow.
You're exactly right, mate. And they'd be ruining that first quarter where Southern Flinders jumped out of the blocks, 6 goals straight to 1 goal 3 at quarter time, and from there it was an arm wrestle. Crystal Brook probably had the better of it for the rest of the day.
Yeah, certainly did, and so like that, they did hang in there pretty well. Long time since Crystal Brook haven't made the finals. They are a very good club. They continually make finals. Probably haven't got a great record when it comes to grand finals, but look, you've only got to make them, and if you keep making them, I reckon that's a strong club.
Spot on. They'll be back, but Southern Flinders, Amy booted 4, Amberg Pedersen 4, Smart 3, Zanker 2. And you mentioned Hill, the goal kicker there, mainly for Crystal Brook, was 7 of 12. O'Day booted 2. Kleining, Amberg, Pedersen, Zanker and Smith named best for the Tigers. Hill, Nance, O'Day and Tobin named best for Crystal Brook. But they missed the finals. BMW would have been relieved to see that scoreline, because they were never really in the hunt against Orroroo, who kept them goalless to half-time and flogged them in the end, 15-11, 101 to 2-7-19.
Yeah, just like it wasn't as though this match was a nothing match, and sometimes you get results like that in the last minor round game. But BMW had everything to play for, and as I just mentioned, like 18 points, and Crystal Brook would have knocked them out of that 4th spot. So not too sure what happened there, but whether it was just a blip. Sometimes we do see teams really play poorly in that last minor round game, and then in the first final they come out and completely turn that around. So BMW would be hoping that that's the case, and they can do that on Sunday.
Yeah, spot on. So Orroroo, Homsch booted 5, Bowman booted 4, Reed 2, McCarthy 2, so they're big guns firing there for BMW. Kanga booted their only 2 goals, Lucas Kanga. Lucas and Alec Kanga named in their best, along with Taylor and Arthur for Orroroo. That man, Bowman, was named best on ground. Nicholas, Shoot and Homsch named in the best for Orroroo, on the verge of another final series.
That was a strong effort, and as I did mention there last week, Orroroo have not been all that impressive for 3 or 4 weeks, but pretty sure Matt Dignan's just been looking at a few things, and they certainly come out and showed that they are the team to beat last Saturday anyway.
No doubt. We move to a game which had really no impact on the ladder at all, but I guess Broughton Mundura used it as a tune-up for finals time. 21-17, 143. Jamestown Peterborough 6-1-37. Good to see Jamestown Peterborough again kicking half a dozen goals. They kicked 4 in 1 quarter, and in fact won the 3rd quarter over Broughton Mundura. So take the little wins you can get, Spud.
Oh yeah, look, and as I've said all year, the scoreline hasn't flattered them, but they have been very, very good at sticking at the task, and Chris Stacey would have been really happy with the development of some of his younger players. and I'm sure they'll come out and be looking forward to next year, and let's hope they can pick up a couple of handy recruits for them.
Yeah, indeed. Hewitt booted 11 for Broughton Mundura in good nick come finals time. Aker booted 4. Is it Aker or Acker? Acker. We'll go with Acker. He booted 4. Sims 3. And for Jamestown Peterborough, Hall booted 4. Farr booted 2. McCarthy, Clark, Kelly and Hall named best for Jamestown Peterborough, along with that man White, who's been in their best all year long. Obviously, Hewitt, Bowley, Grimes, or both Bowleys are named in the best for Broughton Mundura.
Yep, just pretty much went as we thought, and it was just a good hit out for Broughton Mundura. I'm assuming they got most of their players back that they're going to get now for the final, so that was just a solid hit out for tomorrow's game.
Yep. Leaves the ladder looking like this. Orroroo on top. They win the minor premiership. Broughton Mundura a game back in second spot. Southern Flinders finished third. BMW into the top 4 on the same number of wins as Crystal Brook. 6 wins for the year, Crystal Brook, and they don't play finals. It was only about 4.8 percentage points separating those two. And Jamestown Peterborough winless to finish the season, of course. So we go to finals this weekend, and we've got games on Saturday and Sunday, Spud, is that right?
That's correct. Saturday we're off to Laura, and then on the Sunday we're off to Broughton Mundura. So should be pretty good weather and a great weekend of footy.
So the games on Saturday at Laura will be the second semi-finals. Now these obviously, for those who know how the final system works, the winner of these games will be through to the grand finals, and Broughton Mundura have all 4 grades represented. Is that right?
That is correct, and that's a very strong effort from Broughton Mundura as a club to have the whole 4 playing in a qualifying final. So good luck to them there. They probably won't all get through, but at least they've got a double chance.
Exactly right. So the A-grade clash there at Laura, 2:30 p.m. start, Orroroo, Broughton Mundura, sorry. This should be a beauty. There hasn't been much in it between these teams all year long. We thought Broughton Mundura might be dropping off sort of mid-season, but they've certainly come back into some form ahead of the finals. So should be a pretty close game, Spud.
It will be. It's very hard to pick a winner, but Orroroo has to go in favourites. You've got to say that because of their midfield. John Nicholas, Darren Hughes, Tom Moten, Matt Delminico. He hasn't been playing much up there, and he's come back from an injury. Look, one player that you would expect to be big in the finals for Orroroo would be Patrick McCarthy with his AFL experience. He will sort of come out and be, I think, one of their key players. Luke Bowman, you spoke about him last week. Well, they rely on now Luke Bowman and Patrick McCarthy to do the rucking for them. And if they can do it, those rovers or the on-ballers that I mentioned, we'll have it pretty easy. But if they don't, I think the on-ballers have got the quality to do it. For Broughton Mundura, on the other hand, Jonah Grimes is quite a handy ruckman, been playing pretty well for them. William Hewitt up forward, the leading goal kicker for the association with 70 goals, so he's not to be discounted. If the on-ballers can get it up to him, Kane Bowley is good on ball for them. Braden Allen is fairly handy. Mitch Bowley is good across the half-back line with Tommy Whelan. So, you go through all the different players and you sort of say, well, it's got to be a reasonably tight match, and that Orroroo perhaps would just come out in front, and then they can sit back and watch what happens in the preliminary final as to who they play.
That's true. Well, they've played 3 times this year already. In round 1, all the way back to start the season, it was Orroroo by 6 points. In round 6, Orroroo got hold of Broughton Mundura that day, beat them by 40 points. And then the most recent clash between the two was back in round 11, where it was Broughton Mundura, in fact, who beat Orroroo 8-9 to 4-13. So only inaccurate kicking really costing Orroroo that day. So there won't be much in this, Spud.
No, there won't be. The 2 games that you mentioned where Broughton Mundura were close, and the one that they won would have been at Broughton. The one that Orroo really won easily would have been up at Orroo. So, if you're looking for something to latch onto, that's probably a bit of a reason for that.
That's true.
It should be a really good game.
Yep, should be. What about Sunday? So, first semi-final day. The loser of their season is over. Southern Flinders kicking a score last week. That'll give them some confidence. They'll go in against BMW, who were really towed up and have just snuck in on percentage. But doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there, Spud.
Yes, that's correct. BMW, their best, will really make a close game of this. Southern Flinders under Nick Pearce, who's come up and coached for the first time there at Southern Flinders. He will be looking to go into the preliminary final. They've got good players. Their on-ballers in Mitchell Smith has been consistent all year. And then Joel Amberg-Pedersen, Tyson Amy, Will Smart, Nigel Kleining, all really good players for them. Zeke Kay in the back line consistently in their best players. So they will give a really good account of themselves here. BMW, on the other hand, well, their coach in Alec Kanga and his brother Lucas Kanga, who won the medal last year, they sort of have been their consistently best players throughout the season, supported by Bradley Taylor. And then we often sort of see Ted Arthur, Pierce Coburn, Matt Christopherson sort of come into it. I'm expecting that BMW will rebound and it won't be a debacle like it was against Orroo. That's more probably an indication of how good Orroo was than how poorly BMW played. But I'm sure this will be a much easier game for them to handle. And I reckon Southern Flinders will get over the line, but should be a close game.
Yeah, it should be interesting weather down there at Port Broughton. The breeze will probably be up, so don't expect a big score. And I think that suits Southern Flinders.
Yeah, it does. We spoke about that last week, but they have proven that if they can get the ball forward enough, they've got players up there that will convert for them. And so that's the key of Nick Pearce in the ruck. If he can get his hands onto the ball first, well, then that may give Southern Flinders a bit of an advantage.
Yeah. Now, Monday night, after those two finals are done, Monday night is medal night. So who do you think's the favourite for the medal this year, Spud?
Oh, look, it's going to be a real hard... I can't pick anybody out of it. Like, halfway through the season, I would have said Aidan Lee was hands down, would have gone in as favourite. Probably you wouldn't expect that he's got enough votes in half a season to win it, but we'll poll well for Orroo. John Nicholas from Orroo would be the other one that would, I think, poll pretty well for them. For Broughton Mundura, can't really see anybody there much. William Hewitt obviously would pick up votes, and they'll have... I think they'll spread the votes around more than perhaps some of the other clubs will. And that's why I'm finding it hard to sort of find anybody that will come up. Tommy Whelan, backline players, very rarely do get the votes in from the umpires, but it's more tending to be your on-ballers. From Southern Flinders, maybe Mitchell Smith would be the prime mover there, along with his coach Nick Pearce. BMW, Lucas Kanga again, I reckon will poll pretty well, along with his brother Alex. And from Crystal Brook, probably Luke Capitola. Jamestown Peterborough, probably can't see anybody there. They'll pick up a vote here and there, and that's the best probably would be Matt White. But I reckon it's one of the most open medal counts we've had for some time, without being able to really put. I've mentioned a fair few names there, and I've probably missed the one who's going to win it. So Monday night should be good over at Bullery Centre, and look forward to seeing how the count pans out. Yeah,
it should be an interesting one, Spud. We'll talk about that next week, along with the winners and the losers out of the first week in finals in northern areas. Mate, all the best to you, and enjoy the footy on the weekend.
Thanks, Jason. We'll catch you next week.